Weird start to the show. I have some breaking animal news out of Pittsburgh. Apparently, down in Mount Oliver, there's a huntsman spider. A huntsman spider has been spotted in Mount Oliver. I can't confirm this, so I don't want to get reported for spreading misinformation or fake news. I can't confirm this, so check the news sites. But apparently, I guess an old woman went to her shed to grab some, I guess, like clippers or something like that, and it jumped out at her. It made her fall backward. Oh my goodness. And then she said it ran off in the bushes and shook the whole bush when it ran into. Jeez. Mount Oliver's not safe at all. And like on a regular day, now there's huntsman spiders down there. So I pray for all those involved. If you live down in Mount Oliver, I hope you don't come across that. Huntsman spiders, that's a big spider. So, geez. Well, I'll keep you updated on that if I find out anything more. I can't confirm that's true or not, but it's scary nonetheless that there's huntsman spiders in Pittsburgh. But moving on. Okay, so we'll start the show. I just got back from the gym. It's another beautiful day in Pittsburgh. We haven't had any rain at all for the past couple weeks. Very little. All the lawns are starting to dry up, but it's beautiful out. So if you love the nice weather, that's a plus. But if you love looking at your nice lawn, you are out of luck because everything is pretty much dead out there. And I don't know when this weather's going to break. We're getting into mid-September here, and it hasn't cooled down at all. So summer is hanging on. It's fine by me. Always take nice weather over rain any day. So, in other news, there's some progress with the show. So, to be very careful about this, we're reaching people now. It's really cool. I'm starting to get random people watching the show. So, I'm not going to use we'll call it the A word, because I don't want YouTube knocking me down a peg, but the A word is reaching people. Or I'm I know this sounds, I'm in people's A words now, as weird as that sounds. So that's cool. It's cool. I'm getting people commenting on the show that they like it and they're sharing it and subscribing. Awesome stuff. We're breaking on through to the other side, which for something I'm doing for fun, that's pretty awesome to see. So we'll keep it up. Keep putting out episodes when we can. But other than that, I made a new poster for the show using AI. Believe it or not, everybody's got their opinions on AI. I have to use it. I'm not an artist. I can't draw for shit. So I'm not going to try and draw and make artwork for the show. I have Gemini, Google Gemini, made some really cool pictures for me. And I shared one on the YouTube page. I shared it on my Facebook page as well. So that's on there. And I absolutely, I can't pay anybody, but I know a lot of graphic designers. And if they have it within their hearts to make me some original artwork for the show, that'd be awesome. I can't pay you, so you'd be doing it out of the kindness of your heart and, in the mission of doing something fun. So anybody who's interested in that, send me some artwork, please. That'd be awesome. You know what the show is about. You know what I do if you watch it. Have at it. I'm not going to turn anything down. I love anything, and anybody wants to get involved and help me out, that's cool, but I unfortunately can't pay you. So it's not a paid gig. This is all in the name of fun, like I said. So, today's show is going to be a PlayStation game show. We're going to take a break from the DVDs and Blu-rays today. And we're going to do some PlayStation games. I have some PlayStation 1 games and some PlayStation 3 games. We're going to do the same thing that we do with those that we do with the DVDs and Blu-rays. I'll hold them up, tell you about my experience with them, analyze them a little bit. There's not many special features for PlayStation games, but I'll show you the front and the back and the disc. And we'll go from there. So it might not be the longest episode today, but it's cool to get something out either way and break up the theme, so to speak. Because this is a physical media show, so we're not going to totally focus on just Blu-rays and DVDs. Maybe talk about some books at some point too, or some even older media, maybe some old Nintendo games if I can get a hold of them. But I do have a lot of PlayStation games, so we can talk about those and express my love for them or my disdain for them. But if they're in my collection, I pretty much like them, so that's why I have them. And I will talk about them. I have 10 of them. So I'm going to take a sip of water and we'll get started. And we'll do the collectible segment first. Today's collectible, little gift I got, and this is from my friend Andrew, former college roommate. He got me these a while back. They're Michael Myers socks. How cool. Michael Myers tube socks, which I'm not going to wear them. No offense, Andrew. They're just so special to me and they're so awesome. I don't want to stink them up and get them all sweaty and dirty. So I've had them hanging in my office here for a long time now. I love them. How cool. It's the man himself, Michael Myers, on a pair of socks. Doesn't get more cool than that. And happy birthday, Andrew. Just today is his birthday. So I hope it's a good one. And thank you for this gift a long time ago. And I always cherish it. And I'll hang on to it forever. And I'll never wear them because I don't want them to get ruined. Thank you again and happy birthday, sir. Well, let's get to it. Get started. So the first beautiful game I have for you today, and this is a beauty. And this one goes way back. This is a original PS1 PlayStation game. Put it there. Try to move our little bread guy into frame a little better. There we go. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Roses are red, violets are blue. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. My favorite skateboarding game of all time, without a doubt, no question. There's tons of them. Tons of Tony Hawk games. Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, Tony Hawk's Underground, Tony Hawk's Mission to Space. There's tons of them. Skate, Ride, whatever's out now. I haven't played a lot of newer Tony Hawk games. I bought the remastered version of Tony Hawk 1 and Tony Hawk 2, so I have that on PlayStation. Haven't got to play it much, but I have it either way. If I'm ever in the mood to get on the board once again and do some tricks, I have it there for me. But this one goes way back. My mom got this for me. Oh boy, I had to be a young boy, maybe 7 or 8 years old, and I really wasn't into skateboarding, but I was into computer games, PC games. So I think I originally had this on PC when I first got it, but it was so cool nonetheless. And it was controversial with my mom at the time because she bought it for me, and she says, I guess she asked the associate at Best Buy or whatever. She goes, "Is this okay for kids?" And he almost ruined it for me. He says, "Yeah, there's a little bit of blood when you wreck on the skateboard." My mom was kind of iffy about that. She said, "I don't know." Meanwhile, she showed me movies like Predator and stuff and Halloween. So I don't know what the holdup was there, but thank you, Mom, for buying me that game. I think I got it for Christmas. And my brother and I played this for years. We loved it. I didn't even play the original Tony Hawk. And we eventually got a PlayStation, and I did have the PS2 version. And I don't know whatever happened to my original copy. God, that was 20 years ago. This game's over 20 years old, believe it or not. Skateboarding, Tony Hawk, man. Awesome game, awesome soundtrack. So much good music on this game. The levels were fun. It was comedy. You could do kickflips and stuff over homeless people. You probably couldn't get away with doing that in a game. The unhoused individuals these days. So maybe in the newer Tony Hawk games, you can do kickflips over the unhoused individuals. I'm not sure. But cool game. And like I said, awesome soundtrack. And there were so many cool characters. You had all the standard skateboarders. And you even had Spider-Man in this one. You could play as Spider-Man. And that was one of the other things I was huge into at the time was Spider-Man. I loved him. He was my hero. And he was in the game too. And he had multiple costumes too. You could put like a Venom costume on him too. Really awesome game. And it'll always be sentimental to me. One, because my mom bought it for me. She was very hesitant to buy it for me. And two, just because how amazing it was at the time. And the music, and you got so much enjoyment out of a skateboarding game. And it did eventually lead me to start skateboarding when I got into sort of middle school. I learned how to skateboard. And I would skateboard wherever I could with friends. And we'd play the music from this game while we were skateboarding because we were dorks. And that's what dorks did. But cool game, and it holds up to this day. So I have a PlayStation 1. It's tucked away in storage, but I could bust that out and I'd play some Tony Hawk 2 if I ever wanted to. And I have two controllers, so I could have someone else join me. And what was the game you could play with someone else's horse, where you had to copy the tricks. But that is my thoughts on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Flip it over. And I don't even remember where we got this. Retrograde. Where was Retrograde? That might have been... Jeez. Yeah, I don't even remember. I've had this for a long time. I don't remember where Retrograde is or if it's still in business. I'll have to look them up. Somehow or another, I found it and decided, you know what, I need to get this in my collection and hang on to it for a long time. Like I said, when it comes to games, I don't know how I'll do this with games, but there's not really much. Product features. Skate as legendary Tony Hawk or one of 12 other pro skaters. There was a lot of characters you could choose from. Create your own custom skaters. I did that a lot. multiple play modes, including one-player career and free skate. Two-player modes such as Trick Attack, which I think that was horse, graffiti, tag, and competitions. Build your own custom skate parks with a 3D real-time park editor. That was always fun to do. Build a stupid skate park. Mine were never that good. Signature Pro Moves includes hip-hop and punk soundtrack featuring Rage Against the Machine, Naughty by Nature, Papa Roach, and more. I do remember Papa Roach in this game. Guys, awesome game, and I'm glad they remastered it. I haven't gotten to the remaster. I played maybe an hour of it. I don't have a lot of time for video games these days. I buy so many video games, but I honestly don't even have the time. I'm not even working right now, and I don't have the time. So it is crazy. But awesome game, and I'll cherish it forever. Let's take a look inside. Ah, yes. Bring that into frame a little bit. There you go. And that's a cool disc. Cool, nice bright yellow disc. That was sort of the color in this game, that bright yellow. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. And there's a booklet here. I'm sure it tells you about the controls and maybe some of the skaters in the game. Wow, look at this. There is a little survey in the back that I guess you could have taken when this came out and tell Sony or whoever how you enjoyed the game, and you could be entered into a monthly drawing for a free video game. That's awesome. I don't know if this is. I'm sure this is expired. I should fill this out and send it somewhere and see where it shows up and what happens to it. Activision. Is Activision still even around, or are they Blizzard now? If you know more about Activision, you can leave that in the comments. And the booklet here just has a lot of the controls and everything. And then bios of the skaters you could play as, which that's cool. You don't even get booklets for games these days. There's just a little memo in there that tells you if you're epileptic, be careful because there's flashing lights. Which is good. That's important for people that have that condition. Don't get me wrong. But definitely I miss the days when manuals had a little more content and value in them. But nonetheless, this is still an awesome. I should fill this questionnaire out, or this survey, and send it in. See if I get a free PlayStation game. I doubt it. And then on the back, just some advertisements for some other sort of Tony Hawk style games. Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX. Boy, you don't hear about Matt Hoffman anymore. Whatever happened to him? Is he still alive? I'm not sure. I hope he is. I hope he's still riding. I never really got into the BMX games. I was always a Tony Hawk guy. Tony Hawk beat him out. Sorry, Matt Hoffman. Alright, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Good deal. Good game. Timeless. Moving on. Alright. This is a PS3 game that I just recently got into. I played it back in the wintertime. One of the games I actually had time to play because in the wintertime there's not much to do. My wife doesn't want to go anywhere because it's so cold and the roads are bad up here in Pittsburgh. And not to go off on Pittsburgh again, but there's not one borough or municipality around here that does a good job salting the roads. Sorry to say that. It's terrible. But my dad, however, he plows roads. He doesn't plow roads, but he plows parking lots. He does an amazing job, so I'm glad when there's snow for his sake because he stays busy. But they don't do a good job of that around here, so you get a little extra time to cozy up and play a game in the wintertime. And I found this one. I actually have 2 copies of this. So I have a PS3 version, which I bought first, and then I have a PS4 version of this as well. Sort of a GTA-style game that takes place in Hong Kong. You're an undercover cop. You shoot bad guys. You beat up bad guys. And it's sort of a crime story, and it is awesome. I won't spoil any details on the plot of the game. It is really cool. I love open-world shooter-style games like Watch Dogs, GTA. That's one of those games where once you if you're taking your time with the story, or you beat the story, and there's tons of side stuff you can do, little collectibles you can find in a game. I love to do that, and if I got a podcast or a radio show I want to catch up on, what better way do you get some water and hydrate, put on a candle, and just kind of zone out? escape reality for a little while, and drive around in a little digital world. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun indeed. Especially when, with my old job, I drive around the city all day long doing stuff. So I guess it kind of, in a sick way, you keep doing it after work, just in a digital world. I don't know. It kind of feels normal to me to keep listening to my podcast, Joe Rogan, or wrestling or football podcast, whatever I'm listening to at the time. Late at night, you got nothing else to do, and roads are covered in snow. You can't go anywhere for dinner. You can't go out and have fun because the weather's shit. A nice open world shooter game like Sleeping Dogs will get you through it. And I like to collect PlayStation trophies as well. And it's so easy to do that and just grind them out when you can put on a podcast. But always take your podcast off and pay attention to the main story first, obviously. But once all that's done and you're just doing meandering stuff and you want to get the rest of the trophies, throw on some audio and have a good time. Sleeping Dogs. And I have a PS4 version of this as well. I've completed the PS3 version, platinum the PS3 version, and I'll do the same somewhere along the line with the PS4 version. Maybe this winter when I have some extra time again. I'll fire it up on the PlayStation 5 here and have some more fun with it. I'll definitely replay the story again because there's a lot of fun. And Kung Fu, a lot of good Kung Fu moves. It wasn't just a shooting game. There are guns, but it's also a lot of fist fighting, which is always awesome. And here's the back. Welcome to Hong Kong. Like I said, tear through Hong Kong and explore its criminal underbelly. Authentic martial arts action featuring intense gunfights and brutal takedowns. It doesn't get better than that. We'll pop it open and see what's inside. Now, this is an old game because it originally came out maybe 2012, 2013, I think, when it was originally released. So there are some promotional stuff in there, like there's a code for something with Square Enix members. Obviously, I don't think I can do anything with that anymore because there's very little online activity still going on with PlayStation 3. So that's probably null and void, but I'll keep it in there. And here comes, like I said, booklets. I love when a game still has some booklets in it. So let's take a look-see here. See what this booklet's got in it. This is just the controls. Photosensitivity warnings, such. So if you're epileptic, be careful. And then just an advertisement for Hitman, which is a series I've never got into, but it is a stealth shooter. So that might be something I'm interested in going down the line. Moving on. Sleeping Dogs, 10 out of 10. This I've never played, but regardless, it is a... We might have played it, my wife and I. This was definitely something my wife picked. I'll be able to talk about the show more than I can talk about the game. So it might be something me and her have to play. Rocket Power. Team Rocket Rescue. I don't think I've ever popped this in. Well, it says here we paid $6 for it at a local used game store. I'm sure it's multiplayer. It has to be. If I had to guess, it's along the lines of a Tony Hawk game. I haven't played it yet, but I could talk about the show Rocket Power. It's a good show that, obviously, my last episode I talked a little bit about Jimmy Neutron. My brother and my parents told us we couldn't watch Cartoon Network anymore because we were watching Ed, Edd n Eddy too much. It's still an awesome show. But that wasn't... My parents didn't consider Ed, Edd n Eddy the most appropriate show, so they unfortunately... And I get it, they were parents at the time. They put a parental lock on the Cartoon Network channel, believe it or not. But if there was something on there we wanted to watch, like a Space Jam or something, they would unlock it for us. But they let us have Nickelodeon. And I recommend that, especially these days when there's so much content and stuff for parents. If you have young kids, there's stuff out there that they're not ready for yet. And I'm glad my parents did that because there's just some stuff out there that is harmful to kids. And not that it's harmful, but they just might not be ready for it yet. So sometimes parental locks are a good thing. I had one unfortunate friend in school who told me his parents locked everything except Court TV. I don't know why they did that to him, and I don't know if that was true or not, but that sounds like cruel and unusual punishment to not be able to watch anything but Court TV all day long. But regardless, we were Nickelodeon kids, and my brother and I watched a lot of Rocket Power. Do I remember their names? Otto, Reggie, was it Sam? And then the one with the ball cap, I can't remember his name. Was it Dwayne or something? Leave in the comments if you remember the one who had the backwards cap. I don't remember his name. I think his brother's name was Lars. I remember his brother's name, but I don't. Was it Eugene? Was it possibly Eugene? I don't remember. No, that's Hey Arnold. Never mind. But Rocket Power was a cool show. Skateboarding and Raymundo and the Hawaiian guy that owned the snack bar. Awesome show, especially for kids. And that, like I said, I was into skateboarding and Tony Hawk and BMX and all that stuff, and misadventures with the neighborhood friends. That was a thing everybody was into. So I might speak for the other boys, but we all had a crush on Reggie. What a babe with that. I think she had purple hair. Other than that, awesome show. I don't know why they canceled it. It was definitely cool. I haven't played this game. Well, let's take a look at the case anyway. This is something I could... I don't know if I could put this into my PS3 and see if it works. Maybe. Because if I can do that, then I don't have to bust out the PS1, and my wife and I can play this and have some fun. Maybe on a rainy day. Alright. Rocket Power. Trouble in Ocean Shores. Snowmart has moved into town and is taking business away from rocket boards. Will Team Rocket have what it takes to help Ray Rocket save his shot? Was that Raymundo? Is that his name? That's the only thing I remember from that show. Raymundo. Time for some grindage. That probably means something different these days for the kids. Grab some metal. Riding high. Again, that probably something the kids. That's probably a different meaning these days. Chilling with Team Rocket. That's right. All the kids, they were Team Rocket. Does Otto Rocket. I remember Otto Rocket was kind of a douche, if I remember correctly. He wasn't the nicest kid, but everybody like worshipped him. It's one of those popular. And I don't know what was going on with his hair either. But I remember there was an old man who didn't like them, a cranky old guy that lived down the street. 1 to 2 players. So yes, my wife and I can indeed play this. I'd have to bust out the PS1, but maybe I can just put it in the PS3. Pop it open, see what's inside. Okay, here's a booklet. I'll pull the disc up in a second. Catch the latest games. Look at some of these early PlayStation Nickelodeon games here. Rugrats, Blue's Clues, more Rugrats, and SpongeBob. So there's a lot of Nickelodeon PlayStation games out there. I wonder how much they're worth these days. This Rocket Power one was only worth $6. But I'll keep it forever, just because how nostalgic. Old school Nickelodeon show. And there's the booklet there. Rocket Power. Let's see what's going on in the booklet. Just some controls. Okay, so there's a sort of a story going on in the booklet here. Tito was the guy that owned the snack bar. Trying to figure out what the characters' names are. Yeah, not really revealing much, but yeah, just sort of like a Tony Hawk sort of adventure game. Probably a little more appropriate for kids than Tony Hawk. Coolio. Let me hold up the disc, and the disc is pretty cool for an early PS1 game. You know, sometimes you just don't get artwork like you used to with some of these games. Nice purple Rocket Power disc. Awesome sauce. What do they do? Woogity, woogity, woogity. Let's move on. Battlefield 3 for the PlayStation 3. Okay. If you like Battlefield... I'm not a Call of Duty guy. I've never really... I have some Call of Duty games that... people have donated to me over the years. I think I have Call of Duty Ghosts over there, but I'll be a Battlefield guy for life. I just feel Battlefield was a little more customizable, and I liked the idea of destructible environments. And I hated people who played Call of Duty because they were such a-holes when you played online. And couldn't have been much different with Battlefield. But everyone I know that played Call of Duty was a douche about it. But then I got into the Battlefield community, and I wouldn't say it was much better, but I was a Battlefield guy. We'll leave it at that. I never really got into Call of Duty, and I don't think I ever will. I played a little Warzone a couple years ago, just online, because it was free. Didn't get into it too much, but I like Battlefield. I like Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5. The newest Battlefield was at Battlefield 2042. I had a copy of it. Did not enjoy it that much. Kind of got reamed by the gaming community, because it was just... I think it was rushed, and the quality wasn't there. But Battlefield 3 is really cool. And a story about Battlefield 3... Played it for the first time in 2013, 2014. I remember I really got into it because there was a girl I was eyeing up, and she had me in the friend zone bad. And I was trying to get out of it, and I finally made a move, and it didn't go well. Surprise. So I got together with my friend. He come up to my dorm room, and we got shit-faced, drunk, and played Battlefield 3 all night long. And that's when something like that happens to a young man, that's the best thing you can do. Talk to a friend about it and have a few drinks and have some fun. And this game, as of last year, I logged onto this game last year, and it was still online. PlayStation 3, still online. I could pop it in today and check and see if the servers are still up. They might be. But boy, was that a fun online mode. Cool game. It was unfortunate I played it at a sort of crappy moment in my life, but it kind of brought me out of it a little bit. Nothing like some... it was 99 blackberries. That was the thing. 99 bananas and 99 blackberries. We went through a lot of that stuff that night. And I don't regret it, because I eventually got over that rejection, and now I'm a married man, and I'm very happy. So, all's well that ends well. Here's the back. You can read a little bit about it. Winner of Best Action Game and Best Online Multiplayer. I concur. It should have won a ton of awards. It was awesome. Frostbite 2 technology. I'd have to be a bigger gaming nerd to know what that is. Engage in all-out warfare. Real as hell single-player combat. I could play the campaign. There is a campaign to this. And you don't need online for that, so even if the game is offline, I could still... go do the campaign and get some trophies out of it. Not for kids. Mature game. Rocket Power's for kids, not Battlefield 3. Blood, intense violence, strong language. I think all the little kids these days play Call of Duty and they see blood, Fortnite. I don't know what kind of online conversation is going on these days, but it's not appropriate for young kids, I can guarantee that. Let's pop the sumbitch open. Okay, Battlefield 3 Limited Edition. And again, this is kind of when I think booklets were starting to take a step back. Manuals. This is just instructions, controls, and photosensitivity warnings. Just legal stuff. Not really much going on. Nice black and white picture. Now, this is the limited edition. Don't know exactly why it's limited. I remember having fun with it. So it couldn't have been that. I don't know what the unlimited version is like. Gun Club. Congratulations. You're ready to unlock the M1911 pistol for multiplayer. To claim your reward, you must be a member of EA Gun Club. Probably not redeemable these days. And then a little advertisement for Mass Effect. We'll put that back. There's one more thing in here. Medal of Honor. I don't know what that is. Is there a game, Medal of Honor? I know that. Does that have something to do with this? Activate your online pass. That's probably expired, so I'll keep it in the game for preservation's sake. And it's history. And I'll hold up the disc so we can see that. Battlefield 3 Limited Edition. There it is. Good artwork on the disc. I think the artwork on the covers of these Battlefield games is awesome. Did an awesome job. All Battlefield games have good artwork. We'll move on. Okay. I can't talk. Oh, I can talk about this game, but I can't really do much visually for the case. So let me just open it up right away so you can get a clear picture of it. This is an old PS1 game, and it is called Critical Depth. Now, I love this game. When I was a kid, it's sort of a Twisted Metal game that takes place underwater in the ocean. And you have different sort of submarines. Some have arms, and some have big drills, and some have laser beams. Battle bots underwater, Twisted Metal style. You destroy each other. So it's a battle royale with killer submarines, and it was awesome. And this came out a long time ago. This is another one that's this game's probably almost 30 years old. It's got to be getting close. But it just obviously capitalizes on what Twisted Metal was trying to do. Let's take sort of a BattleBots concept, these big cars, monster trucks, motorcycles, have missiles come out of them, have swords and stuff come out of them, and end people's lives at the same time. But this was a cool game, and I remember the graphics were pretty good for a PS1 game, and the music was cool too, and they often added the little submarine sound effects and such. Definitely an awesome game. I'm sorry I don't have much. I don't even remember where I found this copy of it, because there's definitely not much I can show you except the disc. Critical Depth. Maybe I can put this in the PS3 later and see if it still works. It is multiplayer. So if you got some friends and you want to play some split-screen multiplayer, Critical Depth is a very nostalgic, awesome sort of beat-em-up vehicle game. Like I said, kind of a clone of Twisted Metal, but I prefer this one over Twisted Metal just because it was submarines and it took place underwater. I remember playing it with my brother. We had it a long time ago. My older brother Alex, me and him loved this game. And I thought the designs of the different submarines were awesome too. Some were sort of alien-like, and some were like very technical. And then some were just kind of, standard sort of Sea Wolf Hunter submarines. So, cool game. Look it up, Critical Depth, if you're interested to learn more. I'm sorry I can't show you much for the disc. Like the casing, I don't have a booklet for it or anything. I can't even remember where I found this, but I'll keep it just because it's a cool game, and it could be hard to come by these days. Sorry, that was a quick one. Madden 11. This I bought recently. I've over the past couple years, I've really shown an interest in some of the older Madden games, and you can see here that's Drew Brees on the cover. Madden's fun. The newer Madden games, people really have some problems with them. My buddy Brandon, that I went to school with, who happens to be the same guy who came and played Battlefield with me while I was drunk. He's very critical of the Madden games. Check out his podcast, Shrek Attack, on Spotify. I don't want to spell that incorrectly, but SCHRECK Attack, Shrek Attack podcast on Spotify. I just listened to it this morning. He's doing great. What an awesome guy. I'm so happy for him. He's big into Madden. I'm sort of into Madden. I like collecting the older Madden games because I'm a big Raiders fan, obviously. So I popped this one in. You can play the Raiders with Jason Campbell. That's over 10 years ago he played for the Raiders. And they weren't very good, but it's so interesting. And like I said, Drew Brees on the cover, that was his prime. So that's obviously why he made it on the cover. It was right after their big Super Bowl win against the Colts. So it's cool to kind of revisit the past and see what the NFL was like back then and who was playing for who. I'm sure this isn't online anymore, so if you try to go on Madden 11 here and play an online match, I don't think it would work. I could be wrong, but I think it's doubtful. Especially when there's so many of these Madden games. There's one out every year. I'm sure there's sort of no urgency to keep the servers open for a game that's over a decade old. So when this come out, you could do multiplayer, leaderboards, lobbies, matchmaking, messaging, friend invite, voice chat, gameplay recording and upload, add-on content, and trophies. But your standard Madden game, I don't know. Oh, there's a 3-on-3 mode. That's cool. Fewer buttons, play games in half the time, so you can make the game shorter. I'm sure that's a feature in all Madden games these days. And it's rated E for everyone, so the kiddos can enjoy Madden 11 with no worry from the parents. Let's pop it open, see what's going on the inside. Madden 11, there it is. Drew Brees in his prime playing for the Saints. We'll take a look at the booklet. Sorry, I just bumped the mic. I didn't mean to do that. That's kind of not cooperating, so we'll just leave that down here for a second. So, just some controls for the game. Like I said, just a pretty sort of standard booklet. Nothing crazy going on. And I don't know how this one stands out in terms of Madden games. I've only played this a few times, but I did find it recently. And the older Madden games you can find for $3. So if you happen to have a PS3, I'm sure some of the PS4 ones you can find real cheap now too, but this was $3. Probably you could still get tons of enjoyment out of it. You can't go online, but if you want to do a franchise and see yourself through the season in the 2010 NFL, you can do it for $3 if you have a PS3. One more look at the disc. Madden 11. Okay. Next, A Bug's Life for the PlayStation 1. I remember having this one back in the day as a PlayStation game. Bug's Life was an awesome movie. I was real into bugs when I was a little guy. I would scoop them up out of the dirt and have them interact with my little action figures. That was always fun. Use your imagination. I'd play with crickets and stuff and Daddy Longlegs. So I liked A Bug's Life. Good movie. And the game I remember playing, and you're an ant, you're crawling through tunnels, and if you've seen A Bug's Life, you know the plot. So that's the plot of the game as well. I thought the grasshoppers in A Bug's Life were awesome. I don't remember what the main one's name was, but he was a jerk, definitely, and he did an awesome job. So Bug's Life was cool. The big chunky caterpillar. Cool game, too. I haven't played this one in a long time. I think my wife bought it probably a couple years into dating me. We went out to a flea market maybe. Let's get an exchange sticker on it, so we went to the exchange to buy it. We paid $6 for it. And A Bug's Life. Nice little early 2000s Disney movie. And there's the back. And the ladybug, too. The ladybug was always funny. I remember when this came out, and DreamWorks put out the movie Ants. Both are excellent, though. It's kind of hard for me to pick between Ants and A Bug's Life. I think that Ants was a little more adult. Maybe sort of like I think it was PG-13. I could be wrong on that. Ants was a little more sort of comic, like adult comedy, but it was still good either way. I thought both were awesome films. And when I was younger, bugs crawling around and talking to each other and talking like human beings, that's exciting to a young kid. So I love both of those movies, Ants and A Bug's Life. I think I liked Ants better than A Bug's Life, but both were awesome. So this is Ants for PlayStation 1. I haven't played this game in a very long time, so I can't really say in much detail how difficult it is or how entertaining it is. I'd have to pop it in and play it. It is one player, so it is not a multiplayer game. So it's something you'd have to play by yourself, or you could take turns. Disney Interactive. The ultimate movie fun comes to the PlayStation game console. Get ready for A Bug's Life's iView experience, the most incredible adventure ever, featuring fully interactive 3D environments. And that was awesome, because this early 3D environment, that was when I was a little kid, and this stuff was amazing. You watch the movie and you're like, oh, I could play this too. It was definitely cool. Oh, there's the big chunky caterpillar. I can't remember his name. It's been so long since I've seen A Bug's Life. Flick. Was that the main guy's name? Flick. Oh my god, the disc fell out. Pardon me. It's a sin on this show, letting a disc fall out onto the floor like that. Accidents happen. Okay. So let's take a look at the booklet first, and then I'll show you guys the disc. Oh, the little case is broken in here. That's why it fell out. Apologies. All right. Bug's Life. And I'm sure this wasn't the most intricate game in the world, but they went all out with these menus back then. And these not menus, but these booklets. And I guess with digital games releasing now, it's just there's not much money going into sort of promotional material and sort of the art that you got to put on these booklets. Just some game instructions, and they're kind of easy to read. So if there's little kids who might have played this, it might have been. Oh, there's a story. So it tells you the whole sort of synopsis of the movie as well. Maybe if you're a kid and you hadn't seen the movie, that might be cool to read that. Flick's Friends. Okay, so it's got sort of a roster here of all the cast of characters from the movie. The Big Bean will dim. Tuck and Roll, the Pillbugs. That's right. Rosie, the Black Widow. Just some basic instructions on how to play the game. One more time. Cool, if I may say so myself, especially for a mediocre kids game that came out over 20 years ago. When did this come out? Let me see. I'll show you the disc in a second. 1998. So this wasn't even early 2000s. Now, I showed you the case. Well, look at that. Real fast. Behind the disc there. Sorry for the glare. There's some artwork behind where the disc is supposed to go. I'll hold the disc up for you because I don't want to risk it falling out again because it is in perfect shape. At least it was until I just dropped it on the floor. A Bug's Life. PlayStation 1. Rated E for everyone, obviously. And there's that grasshopper. He's on the front there. I don't remember his name, but he was a good villain. You grow up and you realize you appreciate the villains more than the heroes sometimes. And rated E for everyone, so it's safe for the kiddos. Moving on. Okay. So this one is kind of hard for me to talk about, but it is a cool game. And you're going to think I'm silly because why is this one hard for you to talk about? So, SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. I bought this game a couple years ago. Maybe, let me see what I paid for it. Found it at the exchange. $5. So I bought this game and I played it originally when it first came out back in 2010. So there's a story for everything I like to talk about on this show. I'm not going to hate on anybody here. A friend of mine and me, we would get off the bus together. A good friend of mine, and we'd play this game after school. And his grandma would make us some yummy lunch, and we'd play SmackDown versus Raw for hours until we had to go home and do our homework and go to school the next day. But this friend of mine, I was friends with him for a long time, and last year he did something that really, really hurt me bad, and we are no longer friends. It's very sad how it ended, and I wish him the best. I honestly do, but I'm not gonna talk trash on him, but sometimes a friendship isn't worth the aggravation, and I don't wish ill will on him. But we just we don't get along very well. So I think it's best that we just not continue being friends, and I think he feels the same way. He's tried to reach out to me, and I've sort of avoided him. And that's sad. I hate to say that, and everybody tells me, your life is short. You might want to make amends with the guy, and I think that door swings both ways. Listen, if you have someone in your life that's not making you happy, or they're bringing you down, or they're causing you anxiety, every other thing with them is a problem or an issue. You're not obligated to be friends with them. Don't let anybody tell you that you are. I don't wish ill will upon him. Like I said, I hope he lives a happy, peaceful life, but it's not someone I'm interested in being friends with anymore. And I think respectfully, I think he should feel the same way. And I know everybody's got different things going on in life, but at the end of the day, you have to look out for yourself and how you're feeling. There's a saying, you can lead a horse to water. I mean, I can't control what people do with their lives or how they want to live their lives, but if you're bringing me down and I'm not okay with the friendship anymore, let's end it. Like I just said, you're not obligated to be there for anybody. Even I hate to say this, even family. You know, I have two really good friends of mine, a married couple, who sadly don't get along with their parents very well, and it's kind of ugly. But those two have created a family of their own, a beautiful family of their own, and they're doing amazing in life. And they don't really speak to their parents, and their parents are missing out on all of it, and that it's their doing. But I have to respect the hell out of their decision to cut them out of their lives, because sometimes that's what you have to do to keep your sanity. And it's sad, but sometimes it's best that people don't be involved with each other, even if they are supposed to be close, like family. Sometimes it's best just to stay apart from one another, because it's healthier. That's every case is different. Everybody has their own individual things going on, but with my situation, I thank that friend for all those years of friendship, and I will cherish them, but it's not working out anymore. And in my best interest, the friendship is over, and I wish nothing well for the guy going forward. Enough with the sappy stuff. SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I got this game when I got into wrestling the heaviest in my life, which I was early in high school, I think. I can't remember the exact age, but it was these guys. The Miz, Big Show, and John Cena, Randy Orton. You had CM Punk, who's one of my favorite wrestlers today. It was when I really heavily got into wrestling. So this game was awesome to play as all those characters and all the different arenas. You had the WrestleMania arenas, the other pay-per-view arenas, all the weapons you could get from under the ring, different types of matches, cage matches, Royal Rumbles. Cool game. Here's the artwork. You can see the front. Pretty cool. Official WWE sticker. This is your moment. So what can you do with this game? Discover your path to greatness. So there's career modes, universe roads, new physics. The graphics in this game hold up very well. They look like current day graphics. I think the only problem with these WWE games is they're kind of slightly updated every year. They're pretty much the same sort of cookie cutter style, kind of like Madden. They throw one out every year, regardless if it's good or not. I know some of them, the WWE games in the past couple years, have just been slaughtered by critics and gamers because they come out and they're not finished, or they're buggy because it's the same game from the year before, but just not updated very well, and they're glitchy, and people pay almost $100 for some of the premium editions of these games, and they're crap. But I remember this being one of the good ones, and I liked it. And like I said, it like the ones I'm talking about now, was kind of just a rehash of the one that came out the year before. But I thought it had an awesome roster, and it came out when I was really getting into wrestling, so I got a lot of enjoyment. I still pop this one in every now and then, and you can. It's like I said with Madden, you can play as a lot of the wrestlers that aren't around anymore. You can play as them in these older games, and that kind of lives. You live forever in video games sometimes, and you could create characters too. I've made a lot of custom characters in this game. Blood, language, suggestive themes, and violence. So maybe not for the kiddos, unless their parent lets their kids watch wrestling. Then it's nothing they're not going to see on TV. Players 1 to 6. This is probably, you could probably only play this locally now if someone's in the room. I think, yeah, I know for sure the online's not on anymore because there's a character in this game, Chris Masters. He's one of my favorite wrestlers, the Master Lock, which is a full Nelson submission move. He's in this game as a downloadable character. He's one of my favorites of all time. But you can't download him anymore because the servers are offline. So unless you have the game and you've bought him in the past, there's no way to get him now, unfortunately. SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. Let's pop it open, see what's inside. Just the disc. I think the person that owned this before I did, because I bought it used, obviously took the manual or whatever sort of promotional downloadable thing was in there. Just basic disc. You get the Big Show, John Cena, and The Miz. And the game's over a decade old. I think it holds up. Moving on. Okay, this will be our last PlayStation game for the day. Planet of the Apes for the PS1. Goes without saying, I don't know if I've talked about him yet on this show. I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan. All of them. The Marky Mark Planet of the Apes, the classic Planet of the Apes from the 60s, every single Planet of the Apes film I enjoy. Even the newer ones are all good. I have not seen the newest one that came out this year. I do forget the name of it. War of the Planet of the Apes? I could be wrong. But I saw the three newest ones that come out. I have not seen the newest one. So I can't speak on that one. From the original, my favorite is Conquest. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. If you're a fan of the original, you'll know the plot of that one. I won't talk about it because I'm not going to get too into depths. We'll do a whole show on Planet of the Apes one day because I could talk about that all day. But I loved this game. I found it on PlayStation 1. I played it for the first time when I was probably 11 or 12. I found it at Walmart. Big fan of the movies. Now, this game is kind of weird because it obviously came out being marketed along with the Marky Mark Planet of the Apes, the Mark Wahlberg, Tim Burton Planet of the Apes came out. I think that was 2000 or 2001 when that came out. So it was released and marketed with that. But this is the plot of the game surrounds the original Planet of the Apes from the 60s. So I'm not sure what the thinking was there, but there's some iconic characters in the game like Dr. Zaius and Cornelius and Zira, who are awesome characters, by the way. I'm glad they were in it, but I didn't understand the marketing of the release, and that was something I didn't realize when I was a kid, but I look at it now, I'm like, that's kind of an interesting sort of choice for like a movie tie-in sort of game, because let me get a release date on this. 2002, so that would have been right around the time the Mark Wahlberg Planet of the Apes came out, which is an awesome movie. These Planet of the Apes films are special effects extravaganza, especially when it comes to the ape makeup and the scenery and the setting. Definitely cool. Now this game, it's sort of a prequel, a loose prequel to the original 1968 Planet of the Apes. You're an astronaut who, same plot as the movie. You land on a planet full of monkeys, and they're trying to beat the hell out of you and kill you, and you sort of got to... It's a stealth game. There's a lot of stealth in this game. And it was pretty cool for its time with a lot of the stealth elements to it. Like, if you made sounds, the giant gorilla would come around the corner and beat you to death with a club. And the graphics weren't terrible either. I'd love to find the PC version of this game, because the graphics on PS1 are kind of iffy, but just from screenshots online, it looks like the PC version has better graphics. I could sit here all day and tell you what a big Planet of the Apes fan I am, but that's not the purpose of the show today. I will show you the back. Battle for the planet. Fight for humanity as Ulysses, a deep space astronaut shipwrecked on Earth's nearly 2,000 years into the future. Against impossible odds, Ulysses must infiltrate the simian society and halt the genocidal plan of ape general Ursus. He was a character from the original too, Ursus. Familiar faces like Cornelius and Dr. Zaius. So, like I said, it's tie-in with the 2002 Planet of the Apes film, but it has nothing to do with that. So it's kind of interesting that they did that. One player, it's not multiplayer. You need a memory card. Put out by Ubisoft. Ubisoft. I've never to this day figured out if it's Ubisoft or Ubisoft. Maybe some gaming nerds could comment and tell me if I'm saying that correctly. And it is it is violence. I do remember the game being a little violent, so not ideal for young kids. So I'd say it's a PG-13 game. Movies were PG-13, so I'd say this is for maybe a preteen would be good. Awesome game. Pop it open and see what's inside. Here's our booklet, Planet of the Apes. And this one, just instructions. Looks like some controls. In case you don't know how to turn on your PlayStation, there's controls in here for that. It's basically just instructions, nothing like the Bugs Life game. Weapons list. It lists all the weapons in the game and the items you can use. So that's pretty cool. It's just like a little reference guide. I can't say it enough. Stuff you don't get in games today. The back of the cover is just plain. And let me show you the gorgeous disc we have here. There's another one. I should see if I can put it in PS3. Can anyone confirm that if you put a PS1 game in a PS3, it'll work? I'd love to test that out. Here is our disc, Planet of the Apes. Beautiful. Whew. Another game from my childhood. I was big into action-adventure games when I was a kid. That was my style, especially if they tied in with like an awesome sci-fi movie like Planet of the Apes. Final game for today. Infamous. PS3 release. Now, I believe this is what they call a platformer. So this is only on PlayStation 3. It's an open world sort of action-adventure game. You play as a guy named Cole who develops some sort of electrical powers from an accident. And there's a plague going on at the same time. So you it's a cool game. It's unique because it capitalizes on that whole karma system that's started to come around in video games. If you do good things, save people, help people, you get a good ending. If you do bad things, you electrocute people, you fry them to a crisp, then you sort of get a bad ending for the game. And there's sort of a middle ground there too, I believe. Awesome game. I love, like I said with Sleeping Dogs, I love open world games. I'm more into shooters, but this one was cool just because you had like sort of lightning bolts you could shoot out of your hand. That's always awesome. Any sort of like electric attacks in video games are always amazing to me because they always come off visually as awesome and cool game. It's unique just because I thought it ran so smoothly because you could sort of grind on subway rails and stuff, sort of like Tony Hawkish. It was fast-paced, too, and there's a lot of sort of... When I talk about open world games, again, I love the side objective stuff. That's a lot of these games, that's where the meat is in the side quests and the random things you can collect throughout the open worlds. So it is definitely a unique PS3 game. There was 2 more that come out, Infamous 2 and then Infamous 3. I liked Infamous 2. I was not the biggest fan of Infamous 3. I played that about a year ago. That's been out for a long time too. And then there's a DLC I believe it's called Infamous Festival of Blood. I think that's connected to Infamous 2. I can't be sure on that. This is a game I played up in college and I loved it. And it was a recommendation from my friend JT, who I worked with at the time. Me and him worked at an amusement park together. Awesome dude. I miss him. But he's a cool dude, and he recommended so many good PlayStation games to me, like The Last of Us. I think he even sold me his copy of The Last of Us. But he recommended this to me, and I've loved it ever since. And I still have some trophies to get in this game, so I could revisit it and clean up the rest of those trophies and get the platinum. Awesome game, especially when you're sort of like a superhero-ish guy who can shoot lightning out of his fingertips. What's cooler than that? No better way to escape. There's the back. A massive explosion rips through 6 blocks of Empire City, killing everyone in its path. Except you. You now wield extraordinary powers. Will you use them to save what's left or destroy it all? Open world adventure. Climb and interact with anything. Like I said, it's kind of a seamless and very smooth game. There's a lot you can jump and climb around everything. Discover and learn evolving electrical powers. Have the choice to play hero or anti-hero. That's kind of what I was talking about before. And that was sort of a new concept, where it's kind of you play your own way and see how the game ends. Rated teen for blood, drug reference, language, mild suggestive themes, and violence. So, not for the kiddos. I always thought this was rated M. I can't believe it's actually rated T. I wonder if the second one's rated M. Regardless, cool game. It holds up to this day. The graphics are incredible. Cole is a really awesome sort of complex character where he has friends and enemies and he's interacting with them. Do I help this person? Do I not help this person? You can make a lot of choices in this game. And the ending will be based off the choices that you make. Show you the front one more time. Infamous. Sucker Punch Studios. And I have no booklet in this one, so I'm just gonna... There's some artwork on the inside, though. So I could make that a reversible cover. You can see that's Cole right there. And there's the disc as well. Infamous. Probably one of my favorite PS3 games of all time. When I got a PS3 again, back in 2018, I had a PS3 for a long time, but then I got rid of it because I was broke. And then I found another one a couple years later, and the first game I bought was Infamous. And I will hold on to that one. Single-player game. You don't even need any online for it. So no internet connection required. Just jump in, electrocute bad guys, and have a good time. And we are finished. Thank you guys so much if you watched again. Thank you for tuning into the show. I love the progress I've been making. We're going to keep at it. And hopefully a job turns up. Hopefully it does, because I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about here soon. And I can't buy more until I get more funding. But at the end of the day, we are doing this show for fun. If anybody out there wants to comment and leave their thoughts on this, I'd greatly appreciate the feedback. Like and subscribe. And please join the Cosmic Alliance of the Fist. Thanks and have a wonderful afternoon, guys. Peace and hair grease. Take care.